Ladies and gentlemen, please find your way to your seats. We will begin shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will begin momentarily. Thank you.
Check, 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 check.
Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. We will start momentarily. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our show is about to begin.
CreateX provided a lot of guidance and mentorship to actually frame our idea in the sense of a startup.
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My parents were freelancers and entrepreneurs.
sort of a mystical process until you talk to someone who's been through it, and demystifying that helps a lot in your own success.
I think CreateX represents kind of ground zero of creating a culture here at Georgia Tech that historically has been really focusing on strong engineering and then go work for large companies. We're actually flipping the paradigm around where these kids are no longer looking to get a job, they're actually creating the job of the future.
In just 2 months of being in the CreateX startup program, we've already found 3 potential investors in our product and our team. This is very reassuring because it tells us that even though we may not have all the experience that we need, it tells us we're going in the right direction.
In the 2 years since launching Stored, with the help of CreateX, we've been able to raise nearly $250,000, landed multiple publicly traded clients,
grown our team to 4 people, and been featured in Inc. magazine as one of the top 30 emerging startups.
Both Sean and I have learned a lot that we never would have learned without this opportunity. I handle all of our accounting, finance, and operations. Sean in particular has learned a lot about leadership and public speaking and has been instrumental in raising the seed round of $1.25 million.
The most exciting part of CreateX to me is seeing the young minds, the young talent, where they historically have had great ideas, but have never had a platform for actually making them happen. Here, these kids come up with the idea, they apply, they get in, and now they're actually building it. And when they get out of it, they now actually know how to build startups and build a company and have that entrepreneurial confidence that they would have never had without doing it.
The greatest thing about CreateX is through the program, we've been able to take a lot of the things that we learned in the classroom and actually apply it. And that's probably where we're learning the most, is just in that application.
Growing up, I saw that there weren't a lot of people in STEM or creating businesses that looked like me, but through CreateX and Georgia Tech, I was able to get the skills and confidence I needed to take on this difficult task of creating a company.
CreateX is building an entrepreneurial culture at Georgia Tech, which is applying to Atlanta as a whole and building Atlanta as an entrepreneurial hub within the U.S.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Raghupati Sivakumar. I'm the director of CreateX. Welcome to CreateX Startup Launch 2017 Demo Day. It's been amazing. This is the 4th edition of the program. And I know a lot of you here have been with us from edition 1. Right? Back in 2014, we worked with 8 student-founded startups. And this year, 30 startups went through the program. And it's been an incredible journey for us to see this program grow. You're going to hear a lot of success stories in a little bit later in the session about our past alumni teams, how well they are doing. You saw a little bit of that in the video that we just showed you. But you're going to hear more about them later during the session. Now, the 30 startups that went through the program this year, we received 185 applications. These are 185 applications from teams of students wanting to launch their own ventures. And these students came from 28 different majors. Right? When we first came across it, I was like, does Georgia Tech really have 28 different majors? Right? And I think we've still not hit 100%. We still have a little way to go. But that just shows the diversity of appeal that an entrepreneurship program like this has to the student body. And the 28 majors covers all 6 colleges within Georgia Tech. Now, these 185 startups are the teams that applied. The CreateX selection committee, we met with every single one of them in person. And in spite of this being the 4th edition of Startup Launch, things never cease to surprise us. We had a team interviewing with us from over 7,000 miles away. The team happened to be in Seoul, Korea, because the students were going through our online MS in computer science program, so the Georgia Tech students all the way in Korea. We had another team that caused a mini bomb scare because the building manager of the building that we were conducting the interviews in, he thought that the prototype that the founders brought along looked very fishy. And so building manager, without consulting with us, called the cops, and then we had to convince the cops, no, this is not a bomb. It's a product that is going to become a startup. For the first time, we had a medical doctor interview with us wanting to do a startup just because she happens to also be a Georgia Tech student working on her computer science degree. So these are incredible things. Now, believe it or not, all three startups that I just mentioned, they got through, they got into the program, and you're going to see them on stage today. I'll let you figure out who's who, right? So it's been amazing. Now, I did want to conclude my remarks with acknowledging a few people. I know usually in events like this, thanking happens at the end of an event, right? But I did want to acknowledge a few people just because they deserve it. So these 30 startups during the summer were coached by 9 coaches who could have had relaxed summers. They decided against it, and they spent an intense period working with these startups that you're going to see progressing them along their entrepreneurial journey. These are, I'm going to just quickly run through the names. Sanjay Parekh, you're going to see in a few minutes, he's going to MC the rest of the show. Professor Pamela Bhatti, Professor Karthik Ramachandran, Professor James Rains, Professor Keith McGregor, Suresh Sharma, Professor Ray Vito, Professor Joy Harris. All of them were full-time coaches to our startups that you're going to see on stage today. In addition to it, the CreateX Code team, Trisha Smith, Ria Perkins, and Shivani Mehrotra, they've worked incredible number of hours making this event what it is, and the program through the entire summer. So I wanted to give a big shout out to all these people without whom we couldn't have had this event today. So thank you, thank you. So without further ado, I'm going to invite our president, Dr. Peterson, to come on stage and deliver his opening remarks. Thank you, Dr.
Well, thanks, Siva. It's a real pleasure for me to be here to welcome all of you and tell you how happy I am to see you here with us. You know, Georgia Tech has been about innovation since its founding in 1885. It was established to help move the state of Georgia and the southeastern United States from an agrarian economy to an industrial economy, and that was all about innovation. But I've been here going on 9 years now, and probably the biggest change that I've seen at Georgia Tech over that 9 years has been this transfer of the idea of innovation from being something that the faculty did or that the institute did to being something that the students actually participated in. Last week, we hosted a group of, from a company from Aflac, actually down in Columbus, that are looking at opening a innovation center in Technology Square. And I know all of you are familiar with Technology Square and the phenomenal growth that's occurred there. We now have 20 of these innovation centers that are located in Technology Square. Aflac was here last week. I just came from Chick-fil-A. They're opening their facility in about 3 weeks, the formal opening of their innovation center. And I can tell you without any question that the reason that they want to locate here in Technology Square next to Georgia Tech has a lot to do with the faculty and a lot to do with their research and a lot to do with the new technologies that are being developed at Georgia Tech. But it has every bit as much to do with the innovation and creativity and talent that's available in our undergraduate and graduate students. And that is perhaps the biggest change that I've seen in the 8.5 or 9 years that I've been here. This transfer of the idea that the people that can start companies can be students. And this is just the best, one of the best examples, I think, that we see of we've seen of that. 3 years, not counting this year, 3 years, 72 companies that have started, over 1,200 students that have been involved, more than 65 faculty, and you'll hear about some of the successes from the companies that have been involved in this program in the previous 3 years, some of the alumni from CreateX, if you will, that have had tremendous successes. We're so proud of what's going on here at Georgia Tech in the innovation and entrepreneurship space. CreateX is a huge, huge contributor to that whole initiative. As you might guess, I do a lot of these presentations. One of the folks down here said, so how many presentations do you do like in a week or so? And I said, well, my folks said I had to do 50 between now and November 1st. And so I've got folks that kind of help me with numbers. And I have to tell you that I was amazed when I looked at some of the information they put together that the goal is to start 300 new companies a year from Georgia Tech. They didn't tell me at what point we're hoping to reach that goal, but 300 companies a year. Can you imagine that? One new company every day and a half or day and a third from Georgia Tech. What a remarkable goal, what a great achievement that would be, and this is the way we're going to do it, relying upon the innovation, the creativity, the talents, and the technologies that are being developed by our students, our faculty, and staff here at Georgia Tech. So congratulations to the 30 groups that participated. Good luck, and we look forward to hearing more about you and your companies in the future and this afternoon. Thank you very much, Siva.
Thank you so much. Thank you, President Peterson, for the very kind remarks. So we're going to kick the presentations off. We're going to have Sanjay Parekh. I know a lot of you know Sanjay. He's going to MC the show. So Sanjay, are you hiding? No? Okay, come on.
Okay, are you guys ready? What is going on here? Are you all ready? There we go. Okay. You know, I know Siva said before, and you might have missed this if you've been new to Demo Day. This is our 4th Demo Day. How many of you, this is your first Demo Day ever with us? Well, that's a pretty good number. How many of you have been to every single Demo Day? Man, it's mainly the front crying. High fives to all of you guys that have come to everyone. We appreciate you guys coming and supporting the teams. Like Siva said, we have spent a lot of times with the teams over the summer as well as the spring with some of the teams. But more importantly, they have spent a lot of time on the presentations here. So I'm going to ask you to do one thing. If we can all pull out our phones and put them on silent or vibrate. Let's do that right now. So the teams have, okay, mine's on vibrate. The teams have 2 to 3 minutes to talk up here. So a ringing phone is a little bit of a distraction, although I have trained them well, I hope, in distractions. I keep wandering around so they get distracted. But we're going to have a good time here. Okay? Are you all ready? Yes. Come on, we just did this a minute ago. Are you all ready? Yes. There we go. Okay. First up, we have Crescendo.
Good evening. I'm Seth, co-founder of Crescendo. Back when I was in 4th grade, my mom did something that really changed the rest of my life. She bought me a saxophone. Now, when I got that saxophone, I joined hundreds of millions of musicians around the world who play music to connect with others or for an emotional escape from a stressful day at work. But I found that learning how to play a new instrument is really hard. For me, I was one of hundreds of students in my middle school band class with only one band director. So I didn't get the individual attention I always needed to improve. Now, fortunately, I was able to afford private lessons, but I still didn't really feel confident unless my private instructor was right there next to me. So to solve this problem, we've created Crescendo, the interactive music trainer. Let me explain how it works to you. So first, you're playing a piece of music, right? You upload that music to your account, and Crescendo has a built-in algorithm that will scan and extract the notes and rhythms in the music so that it knows what you're trying to play. Next, you download the free Crescendo iPhone app. It's free after you've paid. You have to pay for the website part. Oh, cool, we've got slides now. I'm going to keep going. So you download the app where your music is already synced, right? At this point, you play and practice your instrument just like normal, while Crescendo listens to you and analyzes your performance to understand exactly how you're doing. And finally, right after you're done playing, Crescendo will give you immediate feedback. It'll show you the percentage of notes you hit, your overall progress for that piece of music, and even the specific measures that you need to work on in order to improve. Think of it kind of like Guitar Hero, but for any instrument. Now, something like this is not easy to build, but we've got the team to make it happen. At our previous startup, we launched over 30 mobile apps that have been downloaded by millions of people across the world. We know how to create engaging mobile experiences. We're also a team of musicians. With 25 years, oh, cool, this is working. All right, sweet. Ooh, that was not right. Oh God, this is too exciting. So as you can tell, I've been very busy this summer making cars too. All right, so that's the saxophone my mom bought me. We're gonna recap a little bit. That's me in my private lessons. This is where you're uploading your music to your account. That's the app. We took a lot of time to get really good pictures, so I wanted to go back and show you. So at this point, this is where you're playing and it's listening to you. All right, cool. I spent like 5 hours on the screenshot, so I needed to show you it. All right, so this is where Crescendo gives you immediate feedback. Gonna rewind a bit. Shows you the percentage of notes you hit, your overall progress with a piece of music, and the specific measures that you need to work on in order to improve. Pretty cool, right? So here's the awesome team picture that we took like 4 hours to try to make look candid and everything. All right, so back to my normal scripted pitch. We have an awesome team with 25 years combined experience playing music, so we know exactly what musicians need in order to improve. And this summer, we have had incredible progress. We've engaged with over 100 music directors to understand exactly how Crescendo will integrate into the education space. Recently, we launched in the United States and Canada, where over 500 musicians use Crescendo every day to boost their confidence. But in addition to our paying customers, I've got some really exciting news. Hal Leonard, the world's largest sheet music publisher, reached out to us and said they love our technology. We're flying out to their headquarters in Milwaukee to meet with them because they think Crescendo can change the way musicians learn music around the world. Pretty cool. So if you're a musician or you know someone who's learning to play a musical instrument, come by our booth and talk with us, because we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to experience the joy of music. Thank you, and next up is Eddie Motorworks.
Hi all, my name is Ben Horst, and I'm the president and co-founder of Eddie Motorworks, and we build electric cars like no electric cars you've ever seen before. So this whole thing started a couple years ago, and I had the idea to try to build a car kind of unlike anything you've ever seen. It was a hybrid electric prototype, and we called it PH571. So my co-founder Josh and I built this thing from pretty much the ground up. We welded the frame, we assembled the batteries, we built the drivetrain, we did the wiring, we did the software for it, and in doing that we learned two things. One, that the technology behind the electric cars, the batteries and the motors, are like way further along than people let you know. You hear people always saying like, we're waiting for the next big breakthrough in battery technology, or that electric motors just aren't really there yet and they can't compete with gasoline. But what we found by actually building this thing, getting our hands dirty, is that that's not the case, and that technology is here right now. Second thing we learned was that the desire and the interest and the demand for electric vehicles spans a lot broader than your current market offerings for them. So right, if you go to the dealership right now, you can really buy two types of electric cars. One is a very expensive super luxury sedan or SUV like a Tesla, and two is a super boring yet affordable commuter vehicle like a Nissan Leaf. If you want an electric car for anything else, you really have no luck. So we went to all kinds of car shows with this vehicle, and people kept asking us to buy that car. They asked us why no one had built an electric pickup truck, why no one had built an electric race car, and we were like, gosh, I don't know. So that's basically the impetus behind starting Eddie Motorworks. So like I said, we build electric cars like nothing you've ever seen, and we do that in two ways. So the first is electric conversion. The way that works is a customer brings us a vehicle like this 1980 MGB. We pull the old gasoline powertrain out and we replace it with a modern electric one from parts from all over the place. We give that back to the customer, and what that gives you is a beautiful car, maybe like the car you drove in high school a long time ago. You get to get that back, but with all the modern reliability and efficiency of an electric car. You can't have this one though, because this one's going to a customer in just a couple weeks. And after that, we have a wait list that we're constantly adding to for more conversions. The second type of vehicle we do are ground-up, fully custom cars like the Electro set, which we're very excited about. We couldn't bring it today, sadly, because it was raining, and you can see it doesn't have a roof. But it's a partnership with a company also here in Atlanta called Exomotive that builds America's most popular exoskeletal kit car. We took their chassis and adapted it to fit a super powerful electric powertrain, actually from a Tesla, making this the world's first electric race car that you can buy. But the cool thing about it is not just the novelty, but that if you put this on a racetrack against any gasoline vehicle of similar price, it'll blow it away. So we've already got a lot of interest for this car, and we're looking for our first order now. That interest has gone so far that it's taken us very deep into this competition, a great entrepreneurship competition. So I bet you all of you are sitting here tonight saying, like, gosh, I wish there was a way that only took 10 seconds that could really help a company out. Well, I can give you that. This competition's hosted by SEMA. And if we get to the finals by just getting a few more votes, by the way, right now we have 600, and that's about how many people are in this room. So we would double our votes if everyone pulled out your phone right now and gave us a vote on this. It's very easy. You just go to that link, and you look for my face, and you click on it. And that's it. If we get those votes, we get to go to SEMA in November, which is the largest automotive trade show in the world, and we get a booth, which would normally cost $2,000 to $3,000. So it's going to just take you a few seconds, and I cannot tell you how much this will help our company. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I hope to talk to you at our booth out there, show you some pictures and videos of our vehicles. If you're ever in the Avondale area, you can stop by our shop and check them out in person. Thanks so much, and next is Tio from Avanago.
Hi, I'm Tio, co-founder of Avanago, an intelligent travel planning assistant just for you. How many of you have wasted a day off, a weekend, or even an entire holiday at home? You find yourself asking, where can I go? What can I do? You don't know what your options are. And any attempts at Googling a solution end in frustration. You spend hours and hours of your precious time drinking from the informational fire hose that is the internet. You realize that despite the endless options, no one is listening to what you want. You settle for a mainstream destination and walk down the same roads everyone else does. And that's just not good enough for us. We know you're looking for adventure, for a trip off the beaten path, for when you don't even know where you want to go. Introducing Avanago. Our budget-based approach makes it easy for you to understand where your money can take you. Ask Avanago where you can go for $500 next weekend. Our recommendations include the cost of hotels and flights. Avanago gives suggestions on where to eat, places to go, and things to see, eventually building fully personalized itineraries. Bringing together all of the disconnected sources of travel information will provide for a seamlessly integrated experience. Avanago is redesigning online travel with our relentless customer obsession. Our products show a deeper understanding of travel preferences while providing user experiences that people love. And the travel industry desperately needs this change in mindset. We aren't concerned with which hotel will give us the highest return. We want to find the right room for you. We know that in a growing travel space, travelers will reward better quality trips with more traveling. And after talking to hundreds of travelers, we understand that planning a trip doesn't just end with booking hotels and flights. Our products alleviate pain points across the entire travel planning process. Working with a growing community of travel planning professionals, we're on a mission to bring quality travel planning at scale. Tools created by and for travel professionals will make planning faster and easier than ever before. Plan trips like a pro and you'll never travel the same way again. If you're a travel industry expert or just a good old-fashioned traveler, stop by our booth and find out what Avanago can do for your vacations. Whether it's a day under the sun or a night out in the city, travel with us next time you want to go. Next up in Duvier.
Hi everyone, I'm Valerie Finelli from Induvia, an intelligent clothing shopping service. And I know what you're thinking right now. Damn, Val, you look good today. And you're right, I do. But every time that I look like this begins with a moment like this, where I had absolutely no idea what to wear in the morning. And how could I? On average, women have 103 garments in their closet that make up over 10,000 different outfits. That's insane. Me and my entire team at Induvia recognize this problem. We're 3 dynamic women with busy schedules. Check out my schedule from January. It's jam-packed. Do you think I have time to go through 10,000 different outfits in the morning? Heck no. And that's why Induvia designs and rents you capsule wardrobes that are based on your wardrobe for a period of 25 days. And the reason we do this is, on average, women only use 37 garments in their closet. That's just over 35% of what they own. Not only do they not need as many clothes as they have, but they also don't know how to use them. And that's where the beauty of the capsule wardrobe comes in. A capsule wardrobe is made up of 12 versatile pieces that are gorgeous because they're designed from pieces you already love. That's why we go to your wardrobe, because you shouldn't have to fit a trend that already exists. We should go straight to what you already love. For the people out there who don't think 12 pieces of clothing are enough to go through your daily life, you're wrong. Check out how this green top, blue skirt, and white sweater are used over and over in different looks, and you can't even tell that these are the same pieces of clothing being used. That's the beauty of the capsule wardrobe. With Induvia, you rent that capsule for 25 days. But we don't just stop there. We know you want to understand how to use those clothes, so we created an app. It tells you exactly what to wear for any given day based on your schedule. No longer are you going to get blisters when you're walking to work because you wore heels that look cute but don't quite fit the long walk. No longer are you going to have to pull up your pants in the office because you picked one that's a little too big. We've got you. After those 25 days, you buy the pieces you love and you return the rest. Because you shouldn't have to commit to things that you don't absolutely love, and you sure as heck shouldn't have to commit to them in under a minute when you're shopping in a store. Right now, we have a waiting list of people waiting to be styled. But I love that you're here right now, so I'm going to do you a favor. Stop by our booth, and we'll put you at the front of the waiting list to be styled, because Induvia wants to shape your style to make your life better. Next up is Cobrix.
Thank you. Good luck. Hello! I'm Zhang He. We are Cobrix, a new way to learn computer science in a fun, approachable, and tangible manner. In this age, computer science is not just about technology. It's about logic, problem solving, and creativity. Not surprisingly, 90% of parents want their child to study computer science, whereas only 20% of the states provide standard for computer science education. Having a master's degree in educational technology and pursuing another in computer science I noticed a major gap. One of the biggest problems I found for children in the ages of 5 and 12 was that they learn best by touching and feeling the world around them. However, computer science has traditionally been taught through textbooks and in classrooms. So, we are proposing Cobrix, a new and exciting way to learn computer science with digital games and hands-on play. Cobrix uses games and tangible objects to teach kids computer science. And better still, tangible objects can be everyday objects, such as Lego pieces, fruits, and even sleepy cups that kids will have ready access to. In our first game, The Adventure on Fruit Island, kids need to code in order to help the monkey solve a maze. Once they take a picture of their arrangement, the code will run in order. Mobile device with the game will run the code in order from the top to the bottom, one line at a time, and best thing ever here, and solve the maze. In the process, kids naturally learn sequencing, a basis of computer science. We have more games coming, which will be available both on Android and iOS store. Come by our booth. Give it a try to our first game and feel what's like to be a computer scientist. We look forward to meeting you there. Thank you. Next up is Mandala Sound.
Good evening. I'm sure there are many of you in the audience tonight that wanted to be a rock and roll star when you were younger, and I did too. My name is Tanner Leggett. I'm the co-founder of Mandala Soundworks. We are a music technology company that has created a way to help streamline the songwriting process. My mother bought me my first guitar at age 10. The next day, I bought 6 flannel shirts and was on a mission to be the next Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. As the years passed, I began writing my own music and recording the audio on an old cassette player. But there was a problem. Unless I was writing these songs down or playing them every day, I would forget how to perform them. Like many musicians, I was unable to relearn the songs by hearing the audio only. I needed to see a written copy of what I was playing. And that's when I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if there was a program that would capture the written tablature in real time as I was playing the guitar? A program that would capture riffs, licks, chord progressions that I could post-edit, save and delete, and rearrange to create songs. That's exactly what we've done here at Mandala Soundworks. Here's how it works. Simply hook up your guitar to an audio to USB cord and plug it into your laptop and start playing. Our proprietary software uses pitch detection to assign finger placements to where you're playing on the fretboard. After jam sessions, you have a variety of ways to save and edit your tablature. Now, our program is not just for the amateur guitar player. After hundreds of meetings with people in the industry, including Jan Smith, famous producer here in Atlanta that has worked with Justin Bieber, Matchbox 20, and Drake, we have discovered there's a huge need for our platform in studios too. Because sometimes, as we all know, rock stars like to party a little too hard before they go in for their recording sessions. In fact, legend has it that Slash, the lead guitar player for Guns N' Roses, some of the best songs he ever wrote were only played once and never played again because he didn't remember how to play them the next day. Now, we have some unbelievably exciting momentum going into the fall. We've got notable endorsements, and we have paying customers. And we're going after the other 95 million guitar players that are waiting for our new, innovative, patent-pending technology. And we're not stopping there. We plan to expand and apply our technology to all the other string instruments out there. And now, my favorite part of the presentation. I am so lucky to be a part of just an absolute rock star team. We have over 40 years of engineering and startup experience, and we are a diverse mix of musicians, grad students, double majors, and professors. But more importantly, we are fueled by our passion, our energy, and our drive. We have an awesome story, and I would love to tell you more about it. So please come rock out with us after the presentation session, and I will tell you more about it. Thank you very much. Please welcome Pasan.
Good evening, everyone. I am Kamal, co-founder of Pasan, content delivery platform from people to local news agencies. Whenever a big news events happen here in Atlanta or anywhere else, a professional crew onboards a truck and rushes to the scene for timely coverage. But more often than not, they're late for early shots, or they just don't have the right angles of the event. And that's inevitable because news are, well, news, unpredicted, both in time and also in location. That's why many of the contents that you see nowadays on news media are coming from people and freelancers. Let's see some of them. An iconic Baton Rouge protest photo of Aisha Evans. Airplane crash at DeKalb Airport air show. I-85 bridge collapse. And many of the photos that are circulating showing the severity of Hurricane Harvey. So with the high quality cameras in the pockets of everyone, the chances of missing a newsworthy photo is slim and close to zero. Any one of you actually can be the next lucky guy who has the phantom punch of Muhammad Ali Clay in his pocket. So what's the problem? The problem is, even though the significance of user-generated contents are getting larger and larger, and the battle of original content is fierce, people are usually left unpaid. So that's exactly why we created Pasan, a direct platform that can connect each one of you to the local news agencies. We're talking about original content market, which has a volume of $60 billion, and it's only going to grow. That's because news outlets are popping out everywhere, every time. This summer, we engaged with more than hundreds of news directors all across the nation here in the US. You will be surprised to count them. Even considering only TV stations and the ones that have news segments in them, and talking only about Georgia, we are talking about 19 TV stations with news departments. And when you go across the nation, it's 500. So it's large, and they need contents. Go register on our website, download our app, and then once you have a photo or something that you want to share with news media, just publish that on our platform, and we can get you paid and published. Ever liked your photo or your footage to be featured on news media and, well, get paid for? Well, meet us at Pasan booth after the show. Thank you. Next up is Century.
Hi, my name is Sam Crane, co-founder of Century Technologies. We automate listening to save lives. So as you probably know, officials for a long time by now have been using video surveillance to manage cities. What you probably don't know is they're starting to use microphones as well. So let's look at an example. Let's look at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now imagine that there's a microphone at the intersection out in front of it. Now that microphone can hear everything going on there. You can hear car crashes, hear gunshots, can hear people screaming. You can also hear things that don't matter so much, like a gun or like a dog barking. Gunshots matter, sorry. So now how do you tell the difference? Who's going to listen to that? Who's going to say, this is something that matters, like a car crash, or this is something that doesn't matter, like a dog barking? Let me expand on that problem. In Atlanta in the fall, we're going to have 4,000 new microphones all over the city. And there are projects like these going on all over the world. It's a smart city revolution. That means millions and millions of new auditory inputs and no one to listen to them. How are we going to deal with that problem? Well, at Century Technologies, we have a solution. Using deep learning techniques and a model built with over 1 million different samples, we take in those auditory inputs and output meaningful, actionable data, information. So, how does that look in the real life? Well, with Haz Alert, a firefighting management app, we do siren detection to make firefighting safer and more efficient. As well, with a Toronto-based towing company, we do car crash detection to make the streets safer and make sure they can react on impact. And these are just 2 out of many applications. And what I love about working on this is that we're building value for these companies, but we're also making our cities safer, better, happier places to live in. My name's Sam Crane. This has been Century Technologies, and please come and find us at our booth if you'd like to know more. Thank you. And next up, Oddity Instruments. There you go.
My name is Mitchum Toole. I'm a co-founder of Oddity Instruments. And we're doing for drummers what Les Paul did for guitarists when he invented the electric guitar. Help me complete this analogy. The acoustic guitar is the electric guitar, as the drum set is to what? Most musicians would think of something like this. After all, it is what we call an electric drum set. But really, this isn't a very good completion to that analogy, because this thing is digital. That box on the left is a computer. And when you hit with your drumstick one of these other pads, it sends an impulse to the computer, which then plays back a recording of a real drum. This isn't at all like Les Paul's revolutionary idea for the electric guitar, which didn't use computers at all because they hadn't been invented yet. It directly, his idea directly transduces the vibration of a steel string on an actual guitar, which is how our product works, which actually completes this analogy. A magnetic pickup is placed beneath a piece of metal which is affixed to a drum head. So as the drummer plays normally, the sound of the vibrating head is transduced through the cable. The first advantage of this is that it's analog. Young musicians like myself are finding that analog instruments simply feel better to play and sound better than their digital counterparts, and the industry is certainly taking notice. Having a completely isolated signal like an electric guitar allows you to use effects pedals, which virtually every electric guitarist in the world is using these days. We're opening that market of effects pedals to an entirely new class of musicians. Our product also includes a clip-on pad to the rim of the drum so the drummer can turn on and off different effects using only a drumstick without removing his feet from the drum pedals. Anyone who's ever been in a studio or a live environment with a drum set knows that they're notoriously difficult to mic. This particular setup, 10 microphones, probably 100 feet of cable, just to get a decent sound. Whereas with our product, everything is completely isolated, can go into a mixing board directly. The sound guy is going to love you. We already have professional drummers interested in our product. This is John Anthony Martinez, one half of the group Rhythm Intensive, here at the National Association of Music Merchants conference last month in Nashville, playing one of our prototypes. We weren't allowed to bring a prototype on the floor because we weren't exhibitors, but he was, and he actually left the floor and helped us bring a drum back on just so we could have the chance to play it for a couple hours and perform for people. And he's very interested in working with us in the future. So what really completes this analogy? We do. Thank you, and come see us at our purple booth for a live demo. Up next is light bikes.
Let's try that again. Hey, my name is Daniel Gamero, and I'm with Light Bikes, and we produce the coolest electric bikes you will ever see, guaranteed. Every day, millions of people walk from their dorm or their apartment or their house, and they get in line to get on a bus or a train, and they waste their precious time pressed a little too close for comfort against complete strangers. And if you get in a car, you're no better off. As driving in Atlanta will tell you, you're going to be stuck in hours of traffic jams. And that's where the e-bike comes in, or the electric bicycle. It was designed to fill the gap between a bicycle, a a car, and public transportation. But the problem is, current models look kind of like that. They lack style, they lack power, and frankly, they're silly. And that's where we come in. At Light Bikes, we've managed to combine the power of an electric bicycle and the utility of a regular bicycle and look good while doing it. If someone pulls up next to you at a red light, they're going to have to do a double take. With LED lights on the rims of the tires, on the body plating, and underglow, we create a stunning display of illumination that'll have everyone on the block whipping out their phone to record you as you zip by and put you on their Snapchat story. Now, not only does this bike look good, it is good. We have 4-inch thick tires to provide maximum comfort and traction on bumpy roads or uneven surfaces. And we have a battery that provides up to 60 miles of nonstop riding. And if at any point during those 60 miles you want to know how fast you're going, you only have to glance down at our dashboard, where you can see things like speed, voltage from the battery, and other diagnostic information. Now, to remain within Georgia state bike laws, the speed cannot exceed 20 miles an hour. But we're working on a street legal version, where we can remove limits on speed and power going to the bike, and we can add blinkers and headlights and taillights. Now, from personal experience riding the bike around campus and through the city, I can tell you that riding it is really only half the fun. I was stopped 3 times in the 10-minute ride from my dorm to this theater today. So I think that if you can make something that has every head on the block turning your direction, you've done something right. So I encourage you to check out our website, Light Bikes, and come stop by our booth. We actually have a demo bike with us today. You should come check it out. We can answer any questions you have, get your contact information. Thank you. And up next, we have In Vitro Scan.
Hi, I'm Kyle, co-founder of In Vitro Scan. Imagine, you're with your child and they start to complain they're feeling ill. You want to be safe, so you take them to the hospital, and after a long wait, the doctor walks in, asks a few questions, and says, I know exactly what this is. I've seen 10 cases of the flu today. I'm sure you just caught what's going around. Go home, get some rest, drink plenty of fluids. 24 hours later, you're in the ER, your child is in septic shock and looking at a 50% chance of dying. Had you caught it the day before, they would have been fine. Sepsis is a critical condition wherein the body overreacts to a bacterial infection and causes organs to shut down. Patients can die in days or even hours, leading this to have a mortality rate of over 30%. Stories like the one I just told happen every day in hospitals around the world. In fact, sepsis is the deadliest disease in US hospitals, at 260,000 deaths per year. It is also the most expensive disease in US hospitals, at $24 billion per year. The way we currently diagnose sepsis is by taking a blood culture. This takes 1 to 2 days to get back. Patients can die in this time, so in the meantime, doctors have no choice but to give their patients broad-spectrum antibiotics and keep them in the hospital for 2 days just in case. This is a tremendous waste of resources that most hospitals can't afford, which is why they see a mortality for sepsis upwards of 30%. What we desperately need is a quicker way to diagnose this deadly disease. We've invented just that. We've developed a diagnostic test that can detect sepsis in patients in under 20 minutes. When introduced into hospital protocols, our test will allow doctors to detect far more cases of sepsis much sooner, saving countless lives. Our test is over 100 times faster than existing tests. 20 minutes versus 2 days. We are talking about the new gold standard for diagnosing the deadliest disease in US hospitals. Our protein is based off a protein in our own immune systems that detects pathogens. It is quick, inexpensive, and highly accurate, and it is unique in its ability to detect bacteria in a sample regardless of the strain. We are already making a difference in hospitals today due to our partnership with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and we have plans to conduct clinical trials in Grady and Emory hospitals. We are a team of biochemists and biomedical engineers working side by side with clinicians and professors to develop this innovative diagnostic. We are In Vitro Scan, and we invite you to come to our booth and join us in our mission to defeat sepsis and save lives. Thank you. Up next is Tuti.
Hello, I'm Mohsen, co-founder of 2T AI. We bring efficiency into customer service. Have you ever lost your driver's license? Well, I have. And if you do, you'd probably have to call the Department of Driver Services and wait in line until the next representative agent is available. So you wait for 20 minutes, and then if you're lucky and the line is not dropped, somebody might finally pick up the phone and say, you should be calling another number. Calling customer service could be a really frustrating experience, and it could be a lot worse if you don't speak English very well. Sadly enough, I am an authority on that subject, as I've been there. But I was never alone. 19 million people in the United States don't speak English and use one of these other languages to communicate instead. Businesses have a real challenge in establishing good relationships with these potential customers. But the story of customer service doesn't have to remain that way. Very soon, businesses will use 2T, our intelligent conversation agent, to eliminate both the waiting time and the language barrier in customer service. 2T understands customer questions in any language and automatically responds most of them right away. And by the way, the same word 2T means parrot in a number of different languages. So the next time somebody has a customer service question, they just send a text message. 2T understands the question, replies in the same language. You could ask your question in English, Chinese, or whatever language you're more comfortable with. You still get your answer before you would hear the welcome message of a call center, if you were to call. But it's not just about language. Eliminating the waiting time is no less of a treasure. We are talking about 230 billion minutes. That's the amount of time that was spent on call centers last year in the US. 3.5 million people worked in call centers trying to answer the same repetitive customer questions, and businesses have spent $19 billion answering those questions over and over again. We can bring up to 30% improvement in that huge market by automating the process. This boost in efficiency is why we have already been able to work with a number of businesses and forward-looking organizations like the Department of Driver Services in order to deploy and launch our first intelligent conversation agents. And here's our team, a diverse group of graduate students from Georgia Tech, Emory, and Georgia State universities who have years of experience working at Google, Microsoft, and a number of startup companies. Come over to our booth, test drive our system, and join us in an intelligent conversation. Thank you.
Man, can you believe it? That's already halfway through. That's 12 of the teams already. We've got 12 more for you. But first, before we get into the next 12, I want to talk to you about some of the teams and the foundation that these teams are really on. And the next slide's not coming up, but before the next slide comes up, let me tell you a little bit about this team. We actually talked about naming these batches. This year we decided to call these batches instead of by their years. So this is batch 4, and I didn't tell you before, they decided to name themselves Young Hustlers. So these are the Young Hustlers. I think you can tell by the things that they've done in just a few months, they are definitely hustling. But let me tell you about some of the teams that we've had in the past that maybe if you've been to Demo Day before, you've seen them. These are some of the teams from batch 3 last year. Drinkably is one of the teams. They used to be called Trupani. They've launched an at-home water testing kit. So you get a test kit in the mail and you're able to test your water at home. Synapse, this is actually an old logo now, but they've raised about $90,000 and they are launching their energy drink later on next month, so in September. And then finally, Stored has raised a little under $250,000 in funding. They've grown to a 5-person team and they've got 12 customers. Okay, so that's batch 3. Batch 2, some of you might know some of these teams. You saw some of these teams in the video as well. Grubbly Farms has raised over $1 million. They are in a few days moving into an 18,000 square foot facility. 18,000 square foot facility. That's bigger than what we've got at CreateX. Maybe we need to ask them for some office space. They're doing phenomenally well. We've got Replantable. They are shipping their device. If you were at Demo Day last year, or the year before last now, see, they're all blending together for me. The year before last, you probably remember their big display with lots of lights and plants growing out of it. They are shipping that device to folks. And then we've got Tech Charging. They successfully completed the Techstars IoT Accelerator in New York City. And then finally, out of batch one, we've got Fixed. Some of you that were in the batch one demo day might remember them. Fixed, as of today, for this year, they have shipped 250,000 units to their customers. Yeah, exactly. Woo! That's a lot of shipments. And then Gimme Vending, out of that first batch as well, just recently announced a partnership with USA Technologies, which is a public company, a fintech company, to help them further along integrating into vending machines. These are the teams that really built the foundation that these 24 teams are further kind of continuing on to the future. We appreciate everything that they've done and they continue to do, and we look forward to these 24 teams doing the same exact thing. Okay? Are y'all ready for the next batch of presentations? I like how y'all learned, right? We did that twice in the front, and now you got it going. Okay, so here we go. First up is Next Chair.
Hi, are y'all enjoying the show so far? Awesome. My name is Ace, co-founder of NextChair, and we're bringing y'all beauty delivered, meaning we connect clients with traveling freelance makeup artists in their local area. Meet Tiffany. It's the morning of her wedding, a day she's dreamt about her entire life. She's found the perfect dress, her venue is fit for a queen, and when the wedding bells ring, all eyes and cameras will be on her. She'll need a professional makeup artist to ensure that she's flawless for memories that will last a lifetime. So she's got two options. One, she'll spend hours before her wedding traveling miles in Atlanta traffic to the nearest mall makeup counter. There, she'll wait in line for the next available retail specialist to service her. By the way, this is someone whose makeup skills have not been verified. Or, she'll spend hours on social media searching through dozens of profiles and hundreds of hashtags like bridal MUA or natural glam until she can find what she needs. A professional traveling freelance makeup artist in her local area who fits her budget and who has the skills to make her look drop-dead gorgeous. The NextChair beauty experience was created for clients like Tiffany. In the NextChair app, Tiffany can peruse through portfolio pictures and read client reviews, and if she still has questions, she can directly message her MUA. Then she can book, set a location, and pay her artist in one place, leaving Tiffany with more time to indulge in the magic of her day. This summer, the NextChair team has discovered tremendous potential for NextChair in Atlanta alone. Not only have we gained paying customers who are everyday average women, but we're super excited to tap into the growing film and entertainment industry right here in the city. And we've discovered that there's a need for makeup artists in corporate spaces like public speaking events and conferences. In fact, we're super excited that this fall, we'll be doing the makeup for every single speaker who steps foot on stage at TEDx Peachtree. Thank you. And every single presenter you see tonight on this stage got their makeup done by NextChair. Yeah. So, if you want to learn more about the NextChair beauty experience or demo our makeup service for free, definitely come by our booth. Thank you so much for your attention, and now introducing Intern Blitz.
Hey everybody, my name is Murtaza, and I'm one of the co-founders of Intern Blitz. So last spring, I was looking for an internship. So I applied to 125 different places. 125, I kid you not. I skipped school for an entire month. I didn't go to any of my classes. I went only for tests and quizzes, and I spent all of my time filling out forms, talking to recruiters, and trying to get interviews. All of this work, and I got 3 interviews. That's it. So after going through this entire process myself, I got together with my co-founder, Nathan, and we started to look at why the internship process was so broken. We've talked to over 600 students from all across the country, and we've realized that the problems that students face boil down to 2 big things. The first is time. Right now, students are spending 30 to 60 minutes on LinkedIn or Monster.com to find and apply to each internship. And this is just time spent filling out forms. It's not time spent talking to recruiters or prepping their resume. It's just filling out forms. And even more, this is time that students aren't putting into their day, studying, doing homework, going to classes, and doing the things that regular students are supposed to be doing. Now, the second problem that we saw was knowledge. Every single student we asked, without fail, every single student we asked, when we asked them how many internships did you apply to, they always said a lot. Whether it was 10 internships or 300 internships, the answer was always a lot. And so that's when we realized the knowledge gap that existed, that nobody was teaching students how to properly apply for internships. We followed up with even more questions, if they were emailing recruiters, if they were following up on their applications, if they were reaching out to the network. And we saw that there were so many different steps within the recruiting process that students were missing, not because they didn't have the time, but because they didn't understand the value and because nobody had taught them how to properly apply for internships. So that's why we built Intern Blitz. Intern Blitz is a common application for internships. You sign up with your name, email, and resume, and every single internship you apply to on the platform has that information pre-filled. So now you're spending only 5 minutes per application, not 45 minutes. And even more, we're the first internship site to actually teach you how to apply as you're sending out applications. So you understand what it's going to take to actually get an interview. We've had an amazing summer with CreateX so far, and in the last couple of months, we've spread to over 50 colleges around the United States, from Florida to California, all the way up to New York. In just the last 2 months, we've grown over 5x, and we've had over 1,500 students that are already on the site looking for their next internship. Now, we realize that you can't just make an internship site and only let on students. So we have about 5,000 companies who we're hosting internships from. And these are some of the best companies in the world. From tech firms like Quora to companies like Time Magazine, we have internships that cater towards every student's interest. We spent the last year growing Intern Blitz, and we're going to continue to do so. So if you're a recruiter looking for your next batch of interns, come and talk to us. And if you're a student that wants to get hired, come and talk to us. Remember, my name's Murtaza, we're Intern Blitz, and we get you hired. Thank you. And next up, we have AutoHub.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Christopher Clark, co-founder of AutoHub, an app that allows you to search for cars based on specs and performance data that also gives car enthusiasts a way to keep up with automotive media. So you've been thinking about getting a new car. You've been researching online for hours, looking for information. The problem with the sites out there today is that they lack basic performance data that really matters when it comes to cars. They generally give you the engine, transmission, and drivetrain and completely ignore performance specs like 0 to 60 time, torque, horsepower, and top speed. This is especially true for older cars, as they are much less documented and not even included on the major sites out there today. With AutoHub, we have compiled all of the specs data for older cars and newer cars into a simple and easy-to-use app where you can clearly see all of the information about a car. Now, with the power of this data, you can also search for cars based on any of the specs that we provide. But have you ever wanted to hear what a car sounds like? Maybe the new Corvette Stingray. On AutoHub, you can listen to the exhaust sound of any sports car. Now let's hear that Corvette. Now, I've heard Corvettes and other supercars roam the streets of Atlanta, and they literally shake buildings as they go by. It's a pretty amazing experience. But let's be a little more practical here, as most of you guys probably can't afford Lamborghinis and Corvettes. But for under $10,000, you can get a Honda S2000 Roadster. Let's hear what it sounds like. Now that's coming from a small 4-cylinder Honda engine. That's pretty cool, a very reliable roadster. Our platform currently supports over 2,500 cars. You can choose any two of these cars and compare them side by side so you can see which one better suits your needs. As you can see, AutoHub is made by car enthusiasts for car enthusiasts. So to tap more into that, we also provide automotive media and news and race results. So instead of downloading multiple apps for the different motorsports series such as NASCAR, Formula One, and IndyCar, you can see all the results from one app. Now this is just the start for AutoHub, but with the help and the support of the amazing car community, we can continue to build a platform to fuel automotive passion. To date, we've had over 15,000 downloads. So if you have an iPhone, please download the app and let us know what you think, and be sure to stop by our booth for a demo. Thank you. Up next is Fashion Sense.
Hey everyone, have you ever opened up your wardrobe and found yourself dissatisfied with the clothes you saw or your ability to put outfits together? Yeah? My name is Kunal Sharma, and I'm the co-founder of Fashion Sense. Fashion Sense is an app that uses machine learning to give you outfit recommendations at the same quality as a fashion stylist that would charge you thousands of dollars. Now, we've talked to over 500 customers, and we've learned how most people shop. They go online, they look at an item individually, they carefully consider whether it'll pair with the other items, and then they'll add it to the cart, and then they'll second guess themselves. They'll exit the site, and then they'll spend hours browsing another dozen sites. In short, shopping online with the goal of being fashionable is tough. And people who are busy or lack fashion sense often struggle the most or give up. Now, a fashion stylist would charge you thousands of dollars, and for most, that is not an option. So then what is your fashion stylist solution? Fashion Sense. In the last 10 months, we have gained insight from over 600 models and fashion bloggers, as well as over a dozen fashion stylists. We've even worked with over 100 companies like Amazon, Macy's, American Apparel, Puma, and many more to build up a clothing database of over 5 million products. So how does the app work? Well, it takes the 5 million products and then generates millions of outfit combinations. It then uses color theory and pattern theory as well as thousands of rules from fashion experts in the industry to then rank these outfits to present the one that's best for you. Okay, so how do you use the app? The app will present you with an outfit. If you want the details of the outfit, tap the outfit. Or swipe to move on to the next outfit. Swipe right if you like the outfit, and swipe left if you don't. The more you swipe, the better it gets. And just like a fashion stylist that would learn from your feedback, Fashion Sense is also intelligent and uses machine learning to rapidly improve its understanding of your style preferences. Ultimately, we want to use this trained fashion algorithm and license it out to large clothing companies as a superior clothing recommendation software. Clothing companies will be able to recommend complementary items that go together with the item being sold to complete a look. For example, when H&M sells you a shirt, H&M can also recommend the shoes, the pants, the hat, the jacket that go with that shirt using Fashion Sense technology. Now, if you are ready to take your style to the next level and dress with confidence, come to our booth after the presentations. Thank you. And up next, And up next is Agramento.
Hi, I'm Graham, and I'm one of the founders of Agramento. So, about 40% of adults in America have one or more tattoos. And for those of you who can't see my arm, I put a picture of it up on the screen. So that's about 100 million Americans with some form of ink. Now that's big business, with over $2.3 billion being spent every year on people's ink. Surprisingly, though, this industry has no major players. All $2.3 billion is spread out over 21,000 individual tattoo shops that are exempt from FDA regulations. The current trend that's really hot and growing every day are small and simple tattoos. These tattoos look great, and you can get them anywhere. This growing industry is ripe for an innovation. We are going to be the exclusive provider of small and simple tattoos nationwide. We're going to do this through the use of technology called microneedles. Microneedles were originally developed at Georgia Tech for delivery of drugs and vaccines, and are currently being rolled into the market right now. We've repurposed this high-tech technology for the perfect ink delivery mechanism. Unlike a traditional tattoo gun that you see here on the right, our patches are small, they're easy to use, they're self-applied, and they're pain-free. We're going to revolutionize the industry by offering tattoo assurance. When you buy our product, it's shipped to you with temporaries of the same design that you can wear wherever you like for as long as you like before you decide to make your tattoo a part of your body. When you're ready to make it permanent, you take our product out of its sterile packaging, you press it in where you want for just about a minute, you peel it off, and you have a finished tattoo that's perfect. We've come quite a long way innovating microneedle technology for tattoos, and we'd love to talk to you about ink. Come find us later to get inked with us. I'm happy to introduce our friends Shout Health next, and thank you for your time.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rafia Javed, and I'm a medical doctor, and I'm one of the founders of Shout Health. In 2016, I was rotating at Grady Hospital, and in the emergency room, I met a 27-year-old woman named Sam, who had chronic low back pain, but she was a Medicaid patient with no family doctor. Unfortunately, emergency rooms aren't optimized to see patients with non-emergency problems, and Sam ended up waiting 7 hours before she was seen by a physician. When I worked at Grady and other hospitals, I saw situations like this every single day. It was one of the most painful inefficiencies of the healthcare system. Patients with lack of access to healthcare would come to the emergency department for a common health complaint and end up facing long hours with no follow-up or preventative care. There were often other federally funded clinics where they could have been seen, but they simply didn't know about them. As you can see, this was a loss for these patients, but it was also a loss for the hospitals. In fact, American hospitals could save over $4.4 billion a year if non-urgent visits were cared for in a more appropriate setting. This is why we created Shout Health, in order to help direct these patients to primary care resources where they could receive better care, and to bridge this information barrier that was facing the most vulnerable populations. You see, there are over 300 community clinics in Georgia that can see patients like this for free or low cost, and they want to see more patients. The more qualifying patients they see, the more revenue they get. Unfortunately, information about these clinics is extremely decentralized, and they often don't have a budget for marketing or advertisement. This is why we're solving this information barrier and fundamentally improving the way vulnerable populations access care. And we're doing this in 2 ways. First, we've created a platform that allows patients to find and exchange information about affordable healthcare resources in their area. Things, for instance, like whether there's a Spanish interpreter available on Thursdays, or what documentation you should bring when you come. Second, we've gone a step further, and we're working with hospitals and clinics to actually incentivize these patients to visit these resources and track which referrals have resulted in a visit. By doing this, we will improve outcomes for patients, increase revenue for clinics, and create a cost savings for hospitals. We're currently working with Grady Hospital and Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and we've received a grant from the American Academy of Pediatrics So this week, we'll be starting a program at Children's Hospital of Atlanta to follow 50 families as they use our platform. We're always interested in talking to other people who are as curious about this problem as we are. So please come by to our booth afterwards to chat. Thank you. And next up we have, what do we have next? Pedal Creator.
Hey, I'm Jeremy, and I'm a co-founder of Pedal Creator. We are changing the way guitarists buy and use effects pedals. So I've been playing guitar for a little more than 5 years now, and something that I've realized is that it's really hard to sound like my favorite artists. I know that if I want to sound like Jimi Hendrix, I have to buy this pedal. If I want to sound like the Rolling Stones, I have to buy this pedal. If I want to sound like Nirvana, this pedal. If I want to sound like John Mayer, this pedal. Beck, this pedal. So that's 5 pedals, and I'm already at over $600. Not only that, but when you go into a music store, there are 50 other pedals, plus the thousands and thousands of pedals online. How am I supposed to know which pedals are for me? Our solution is Pedal Creator. Now, Pedal Creator is the only effects pedal that is customizable and completely analog. It's engineered from the leading pedal brands to sound just as good as them, and it sounds great because it's analog. Now, what that means is that the sound isn't converted from the smooth original sound waves into that choppy digital noise of a sound wave. Pedal Creator gives you that lossless and true sound that musicians love, unlike those multi-effects pedals out there. Now, here's how Pedal Creator works. All the cartridges in the system work together to create a single distortion effect. By changing a cartridge, you change the sound. So if you want to sound like the Rolling Stones, just put that cartridge in. It's that simple. With our patent-pending technology, we allow you to sound like any of those artists I talked about in the beginning, Jimi Hendrix, Nirvana, but we also allow you to mix and match cartridges to create your own unique sounds. We are Pedal Creator, and we are here to disrupt the effects pedal industry. Thanks. And next up is Box Finder.
Hi, my name is JP Holsworth, and I'm a co-founder of Box Finder, the only place where you can learn about and try subscription boxes. Imagine if you could get workout supplements recommended by Arnold Schwarzenegger and sent right to your door. Imagine if you could get the best new books handpicked by J.K. Rowling every single month. If you know about subscription boxes, you know that you can. Subscription boxes are collections of products that are carefully curated by experts in any industry. Socks, recipes, jewelry, even STEM experiments for kids. There's a subscription box out there for just about anything that you can think of. There are actually over 3,000 on the market today, and over 21 million people visited these sites in 2016 alone. Here's the only problem. 92% of these customers didn't purchase. That's 19 million people, and we know why. We spent hundreds of hours talking to people who visited these sites, but decided not to subscribe for whatever reason. The biggest problem is that there's no way to try a subscription box without being forced to immediately commit to it. This is Jennifer. Jennifer is one of those people that we talk to. Jennifer has a toddler, so she loves subscription boxes because they save her time shopping and they allow her to still try products without having to go to the stores. By the time we talked to her, she had already subscribed to and canceled 5 different subscription boxes, one of which being a popular meal kit subscription that sends meals to your door every week. After a few months, she decided that she wanted to cancel because she wasn't happy with the variety of meals that were being sent to her. She hopped on her phone, logged back into the site, and figured it'd be easy. Nope. This subscription box company, like many others, make it extremely hard for customers to cancel. It took an easy 5 minutes for her to subscribe to the company, but it took her over an hour to figure out how to cancel. Over an hour. Customers like her are no longer subscribing to boxes anymore. For all the Jennifers out there, we'd like to introduce Box Finder. BoxFinder is one place where you can truly try subscription boxes without being forced to commit to them. And we do this by letting you switch back and forth between subscriptions and try a new one every single month. With BoxFinder, you can search all the subscription boxes that are available and use information like unboxing videos and verified customer reviews to figure out which boxes might be right for you. Then, when you know which boxes you like to try, you can add them to your BoxFinder queue and start your subscription. For the same monthly rate, we'll send you one box in your queue each month, and it's just that easy. The best part is that you can cancel your subscription in just 2 clicks. But why would you want to when one subscription gets you access to every single subscription box on the market? We've partnered with over 20 companies so far, and we're growing our monthly recurring revenue constantly. Come by our booth after the show, and we'll help you learn about the different boxes that you can try next month. Thank you. Next up is Sophia Tech.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sihwan Kim. I'm a co-founder of Sophia Tech. Our goal is to solve energy problem in electronic devices by designing ultra-low power, analog, programmable devices. Low power design is essential in today's electronic devices. One of applicable fields is in wearable devices, which we expect growth up to $300 million market in 2018. Wearable devices should be small and light. Unfortunately, traditional digital signal processors consume so much power and require a big, heavy battery, which we also have to charge every day. If our low-power analog devices are applied here, power consumption is no longer an issue anymore. To be more specific, a knee injury monitoring system would be a good example. This monitoring medical device analyzes the sound the knee makes with movement. Conventional digital solution with a nickel battery can last only an hour, dealing with the heavy computation needed for sound analysis. Now, an hour here can be prolonged to 42 days with our low-power analog processors. As in this case, we enable 1,000 times superior power efficiency. We developed a prototype device. The hardware architecture may look a little bit complicated, but not to worry, as I will not go through the details. This prototype device has been used and tested through Georgia Tech analog circuit classes and other co-working research groups. We have achieved progress in this technology over a number of years, which has shown a lot of possibilities. Now we thought the time has come to commercialize this device. We started off with three very first customers, including Mayo Clinic, and we are also working with other research groups for potential applications. We are a strong team of 4 now, and we are very excited to build Sophia Tech to a successful company. If you have any questions, please drop our booth. Thank you. Next startup is STEM Power.
Hi, I'm Kenzie, co-founder of STEM Power and an engineering student at Georgia Tech. Throughout my life, I've been consistently passionate about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But the first time that I realized that there was a gender issue in STEM, I was just a junior in high school. My physics teacher, Mr. Gustav, wanted to make a point to the class about what it took to be good at physics. And he did this by singling out the 2 highest achievers of the class, myself, and this other guy named Sam. And he said to the class, Sam here is a whiz at physics because he has a natural ability. And then he pointed at me, and he said to me, along with all of the other women in the class, that Kenzie's only good at physics because she's a try-hard, and she eats her textbooks. When I started school at Georgia Tech, the gender gap was tangible, and I wondered to myself if this was because of experiences like my own with Mr. Gustav. I met 5 other women on campus interested in answering this question, and what we learned was that the gender gap manifests in STEM as early as middle school. In fact, by the time kids are done with elementary school, there's approximately an equal number of boys and girls interested in science and math. But by the time they're done with middle school, there's twice as many boys as girls interested in science and math. I thought that this was because of explicit reasons, but the reason for this was a lack of relatable role models for these girls, combined with a prevalence of implicit social biases that tell these girls that science and math is not something for them. It's something for the boys. And every single woman driven away from STEM is a loss to all of society in terms of the scientists and the engineers that could have been. Our solution is STEM Power. STEM Power is a mentoring program that builds up the confidence and the resiliency necessary to protect that interest in science and math throughout middle school and beyond. Our program, through a partnership with the Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta and Georgia Tech Grand Challenges, we have offered our program to over 100 Girl Scouts in the Greater Atlanta area already. Our program connects these girls with relatable role models in the form of female Georgia Tech students. These mentors visit the Girl Scout troops on a regular basis accessibly at their meeting locations to engage with them in hands-on STEM activities and character building lessons that emphasize the value of a growth mindset and the importance of making mistakes. This fall, we already have 50 paying participants signed up for our program. We will learn from working with these girls and applying our knowledge with the 1.8 million Girl Scouts across the nation. So if you are a woman in the audience tonight, or if you are the father of a woman, come by our booth and talk to us. I'm Kenzie, and this was STEM Power. Up next, Top Time Coffee.
Can you guess what we do? Hello everyone, I'm Nolan, founder of Top Time Coffee Company. So what we actually do is source raw coffee beans from all over the world, craft roast them, and brew them to serve to people like you. Just like any other coffee shop, but we do things a little bit differently. Let me show you how. For those of you that don't know, coffee is just as much a science as it is an art. Each coffee bean has within it hundreds of different flavors that can either be amplified or suppressed depending on the temperature profile you roast the coffee with. Now these temperature profiles give you complete control over your coffee. So you can make it taste like blueberry, cantaloupe, peanut butter, or for whatever reason, petroleum, Starbucks, any of that stuff. So to get these flavor profiles out of the coffee roasting companies have to purchase equipment that costs anywhere from $20,000 to $150,000. Well, credit card companies suck, and they wouldn't let us buy one, so we built our own. Introducing the Bean Daddy 1.0. A 1-pound capacity coffee roaster capable of fully customizing the taste and smell of your Morning Joe. We insert raw coffee beans into our roaster. We upload a temperature profile that we pre-select depending on the bean that we're roasting. 15 minutes later, coffee exactly the way we want it. So we built this great machine, and we wanted a way to get our coffee into as many people's hands as possible to show them just how great it is. And it is great. But rent in Atlanta is very expensive, so we couldn't afford our own shop, so we built our own on wheels. Introducing the Top Time Coffee Cart. Each coffee cart comes equipped with a built-in plumbing system, so all we need is a power outlet and we can keep the coffee flowing. Look for these carts to pop up in office buildings, apartment complexes, farmers markets, festivals, breweries, college campuses, you name it, we'll brew it. Each cart exclusively brews and sells Top Time coffee, craft roasted on machines that we've built ourselves. The first cart was launched a few weeks ago as part of a 2-week soft opening at Torchtop Brew Pub, which is just about a half-mile down the road. We'll be reopening this cart September 9th as part of a Beverage Bash collaboration that we're hosting with them. So we hope to see you all there. It's going to be awesome. Look for these carts to start popping up all over the city and changing the way Atlanta does coffee. We're also working on our first brick-and-mortar shop, which will be the nation's first do-it-yourself coffee roastery. Built on the principles of a maker's mentality, education, and caffeine, we couldn't think of anything more representative of engineering. So come on by our booth. After the show, we have samples of our coffees. They're delicious, I promise you. And make sure that you come on by our grand opening on September 9th. We guarantee it'll be a top time. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, you guys are in for a real treat. It's iSimu VR.
Welcome back to reality. You were just in one of Asia's thousands of virtual reality arcades. The VR market in Asia is insatiable, with over 3,000 VR arcades in China alone. But in the US, there's less than 100. My name is Vin Ha, and I'm with iSimu VR. And we are going to bring thousands of virtual reality arcades to the United States. So, why are there thousands of virtual reality arcades in Asia, but so few in the US? If we look into it, we find that there's one main problem: commercial licensing costs. In Asia, looser copyright laws have made it possible for VR arcades to avoid these expensive licensing fees. But in the US, there is no avoiding commercial licenses. If I have a mid-size arcade with about 20 games, 10 stations, and each game costs on average $50 per month, I can expect to pay an average $10,000 per month on licensing fees alone. This model is simply unsustainable. So we developed our own VR arcade management software. Using our software, we have reduced licensing costs by minimizing overhead associated with hundreds, if not thousands, of redundant contracts between developers and arcades. We shifted the VR arcade industry away from this fixed cost model, which was not working, to a pay-per-minute model, which made it much more affordable and sustainable for an arcade to operate. In addition, we developed a 3D intuitive interface along with other functions and features an arcade can use to manage their business. And all of this was possible by developing our own VR arcade. Using the arcade, we're able to implement, test, and refine our software. In the fourth quarter of this year, we will be releasing our software to arcades across the country to use to manage their business. Our goal at iSimu VR is to bring thousands of virtual reality arcades to the United States to share the amazing experience of virtual reality with the world, because it's cool, rad, sweet, and epic. Thank you very much.
Okay, can you believe it? That's 24. That's all of the teams. You saw them all. How awesome was that? I think you got more than that. How awesome was that? Yeah, that's how I'm talking about. Okay, before, I forgot to do one thing. We have a bunch of alumni from the program in the audience. Can you all stand up? The alumni that are still here. Yeah, there's a handful of you. The 24 of you now are also alumni, so you guys can stand up too. I gotta tell you, what these folks do is hard, hard stuff. You guys can sit now, it's okay. This is hard stuff, right? This is not easy. There's a reason why there's not everybody that's an entrepreneur. Doing this is hard. Getting up on stage is hard. When the slides don't work, things don't work, microphones don't work, this is hard stuff. And I think you saw the 24 teams today, they did a fabulous, fabulous job. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now we're at the fun part of the evening. At least I think it's the fun part of the evening. We're about to open up the demo pit. So I'm going to ask you for two things, okay? I want you to go see all the teams, and I want you to find a team that you could be a customer for, and I also want you to find a team that you can help in some way. Introduce them to somebody that might be a customer, introduce them to a partner, introduce them to an investor, do something for them. This program really only works with all of your help, okay? We need to help these teams become successful. So we're going to open up the demo pit. The other reason to go over to the demo pit is we've got dessert. So there's food there, and there's going to be awesome teams there. You're going to be able to ride around on bikes. You're going to be able to play virtual reality games. It's going to be a fun time. Okay, so you're all ready? Okay, it's off that way. Thanks for coming.